My name is John, and I've always believed in the power of education. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, opportunities were scarce. My family scraped by, living paycheck to paycheck, and college seemed like an impossible dream. But thanks to an educational charity, I managed to get a decent education and break the cycle of poverty. This experience shaped my life's mission, to give back and help underprivileged kids access the education they deserve. I was 33, settled into my career, and deeply involved in my philanthropic work when I met Anna. It was at a fundraiser for an educational charity. The event was hosted at a swanky hotel in downtown Columbus, full of well-dressed people mingling, sipping champagne, and bidding on silent auction items. I was there as a speaker, sharing my story of how educational charity had transformed my life. After my speech, I stood at the bar, feeling a mix of satisfaction and nerves. Public speaking wasn't my favorite thing, but it was necessary to garner support for the cause. That's when I saw her. Anna had a way of standing out in a crowd, not just because of her striking red hair, but because she carried herself with a confidence that was magnetic. She approached me with a smile that made the room feel a little less crowded. "Great speech," she said, her green eyes locking onto mine.
I'm Anna.
We shook hands, and from that moment, there was an undeniable connection. We spent the rest of the evening talking about our passions, our dreams, and our lives. She was a graphic designer, full of creativity and wit, and she shared my passion for making a difference in the world. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, and by the end of the night, we exchanged numbers, promising to meet again. Our relationship blossomed quickly. Anna and I found joy in working together on various projects. She used her design skills to create compelling marketing materials for the charity, and we often brainstormed ideas for fundraisers and outreach programs. It felt like we were a team, united by a common purpose. Anna had a knack for making everyone around her feel special, and I wasn't immune to her charm. We spent countless evenings discussing our visions for the future, often late into the night, as the city lights twinkled outside our apartment window. She brought color and creativity into my structured, purpose-driven life, and I loved her for it. But as our relationship deepened, so did my commitment to my work. My days were filled with meetings, events, and planning sessions, and it wasn't long before the cracks started to show. Anna, ever supportive, tried to be understanding, but I could sense her growing frustration. She never said it outright, but I knew she felt neglected. Our first real argument happened after I missed a dinner she had planned for weeks. I had been caught up in a meeting with a potential donor, and by the time I checked my phone, I had multiple missed calls and texts from Anna. When I finally got home, she was sitting on the couch, her face a mask of disappointment. "John, this is becoming a pattern," she said quietly, her voice tinged with sadness. "I know your work is important, but so is our relationship." I tried to explain, to make her understand the pressure I was under, but the words felt hollow even to me. The truth was, I had started to lose sight of the balance between my passion for my work and my love for Anna. Despite the growing tension, we managed to find moments of happiness. We celebrated small victories, like securing a significant donation or completing a successful project. One of my fondest memories was the day we visited one of the schools we supported. The kids were ecstatic, their faces lighting up with pure joy as we handed out new books and supplies. Anna was in her element, snapping photos and interacting with the children. It was one of those rare days when everything felt right. But those moments were becoming fewer and farther between. The demands of my work were relentless, and I often found myself torn between the person I loved and the cause I was so passionate about. It was a balancing act that I was failing at miserably. Then came the high-profile education conference. It was a big deal, an opportunity to speak to a room full of influential people who could make a real difference. I threw myself into preparing for it, spending long hours rehearsing my speech and perfecting every detail. Anna tried to be supportive, but I could see the strain it was putting on her. She felt sidelined, and I was too consumed by the upcoming event to truly address her concerns. The night before the conference, we had another argument. She accused me of putting my work above our relationship, of not being present. I defended myself, saying that this conference was crucial for the charity. We went to bed angry, a cold silence hanging between us. The next day, I delivered my speech. It went off without a hitch, and the applause was thunderous. But as I stood there, basking in the success, a nagging feeling of unease gnawed at me. I couldn't shake the image of Anna's hurt expression from the night before. After the conference, I returned home, eager to make things right. But Anna wasn't there. I found a note on the kitchen table, her neat handwriting spelling out what I had feared the most. She needed space, time to think about our relationship. My heart sank as I read her words, the weight of my choices crashing down on me. In the days that followed, I threw myself into my work even more, using it as a distraction from the pain. But it wasn't long before I discovered the truth. A mutual friend, Lisa, had seen Anna with someone else, a man I didn't know. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. All the sacrifices I had made, the time and effort I had put into building a life with Anna, felt like they had been for nothing. I confronted Anna, hoping for some explanation that would make sense of it all. But there were no words that could heal the wound she had inflicted. She admitted to the affair, her eyes filled with tears.
I'm sorry, John.
I didn't mean for it to happen. I just felt so alone. Her words stung, but there was no going back. The trust we had built was shattered, and I knew that our relationship was over. The realization left me hollow, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely adrift. In the aftermath, I withdrew from everything. My work, my friends, even my family. I needed to process the betrayal, to understand how everything had fallen apart. It was during this dark period that I met Emily, a bright and hopeful child from one of the schools we supported. Her resilience and optimism despite her circumstances touched me deeply. She became a beacon of hope in my darkest days, reminding me why I had started this journey in the first place. Slowly, I began to find my way back. I saw the tangible impact of my work in the community's improvement, and it reignited my passion. It wasn't easy, but I knew that I couldn't let one betrayal define me. I had a mission, a purpose that went beyond my personal pain. And with time, I learned to cultivate love and trust within myself, finding strength in the very work that had once driven a wedge between Anna and me. Life moved on, and so did I. My dedication to philanthropy became a personal mission, a way to heal and grow. And as I stood before new audiences, sharing not just my professional journey but also my personal one, I found a deeper connection with those around me. The pain of betrayal was still there, but it no longer defined me. Instead, it became a part of my story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Anna and I quickly became inseparable. After that first meeting at the fundraiser, we found ourselves spending more and more time together. Our shared passion for helping others created a bond that felt unbreakable. Every weekend, we were either brainstorming new ideas for the charity or exploring new ways to make a difference. It felt like we were on a mission together, partners in both life and work. Anna was a graphic designer, and her creativity knew no bounds. She could turn the most mundane ideas into visually stunning campaigns. I remember one Saturday morning, we were sitting at our favorite cafe, sipping on lattes and discussing an upcoming fundraiser. I was struggling to come up with a catchy slogan that would resonate with our audience. Anna, with her usual spark, took out her sketchpad and started drawing. "How about something like this?" she asked, showing me a rough sketch of children reaching for stars with the slogan, "Dream big, achieve more," emblazoned across the top. It was perfect. Her design captured the essence of our mission and brought it to life in a way that words alone couldn't. We spent the rest of the day refining the concept, and by the end of it, we had a complete campaign ready to go. It was moments like these that made me fall in love with her even more. She wasn't just supportive. She was an integral part of everything I was trying to achieve. Our relationship wasn't all work and no play. We made time for ourselves, exploring the city, trying out new restaurants, and going on spontaneous road trips. One of our favorite places to visit was Hocking Hills, a beautiful state park with stunning waterfalls and hiking trails. We would pack a picnic, spend the day hiking, and end it with a cozy campfire under the stars. Those trips were our escape from the hustle and bustle of city life, a chance to reconnect with each other and nature. Our friends, Mark and Lisa, were frequent companions on these adventures. Mark was my best friend from college, a guy with a big heart and an even bigger sense of humor. He worked in finance but was always eager to lend a hand with our charity work. Lisa, Anna's close friend, was a nurse with a passion for helping others. The four of us formed a tight-knit group, sharing countless laughs, stories, and unforgettable moments. One of the most memorable moments was the day we decided to organize a surprise birthday party for Emily, the bright and hopeful child from one of the schools we supported. Emily had captured all our hearts with her infectious enthusiasm and unwavering optimism. Her birthday was coming up, and we wanted to do something special for her. We planned a big party at the community center, complete with decorations, games, and a giant cake. Anna took charge of the decorations, creating a magical, fairy tale-themed setup that made the room look like something out of a storybook. Mark and Lisa handled the logistics, making sure everything was in place for the big day. When Emily walked into the room, her eyes widened in disbelief. She ran around, hugging everyone and thanking us repeatedly. The joy on her face was indescribable. It was a moment that reminded us all why we did what we did. Seeing the impact of our efforts firsthand was incredibly rewarding, and it brought us even closer together. But as our relationship grew, so did the demands of my work. The more successful our campaigns were, the more responsibilities I had. Meetings, events, and planning sessions started to take up most of my time. I was constantly juggling multiple projects, trying to keep everything on track. Anna, ever supportive, tried her best to be patient and understanding. She would bring me coffee during late-night work sessions, help me organize my notes, and even sit through endless meetings just to be by my side. But I could sense her growing frustration. She missed the days when we could just be together without any interruptions, when my attention wasn't divided between her and my work. The first real sign of trouble came during our second anniversary. I had planned a special dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date. It was supposed to be a night of celebration and romance. But that afternoon, I got a call from a major donor who wanted to discuss a new project. I couldn't afford to miss the opportunity, so I rescheduled our dinner for later in the evening. When I finally arrived at the restaurant, Anna was already there, sitting alone at a corner table. She looked beautiful, but her eyes were sad. I apologized profusely, explaining the situation, but I could see the disappointment etched on her face. "John, I understand that your work is important," she said quietly, "but I need to feel important too." Her words hit me hard. I knew she was right, but I didn't know how to fix it. I promised to make more time for us, but deep down, I wasn't sure if I could keep that promise. Despite the growing tension, we tried to make it work. We still had good times together, but they were overshadowed by the increasing demands of my work. I was often distracted, my mind preoccupied with the next big project or upcoming event. Anna tried to be patient, but I could see the strain it was putting on her. Our friends noticed the change too. Mark pulled me aside one day and voiced his concerns. "John, you need to find a balance," he said. "You're doing amazing work, but don't lose sight of what's important at home." I knew he was right, but finding that balance seemed impossible. The more successful our charity became, the more it consumed my life. I felt like I was constantly running on a treadmill, never able to slow down or catch my breath. Then came the high-profile education conference. It was a huge opportunity to showcase our work and attract new donors. I threw myself into preparing for it, spending countless hours rehearsing my speech and perfecting every detail. Anna tried to be supportive, but I could see the toll it was taking on her. She felt sidelined, and I was too consumed by the upcoming event to truly address her concerns. The night before the conference, we had another argument. She accused me of putting my work above our relationship, of not being present. I defended myself, saying that this conference was crucial for the charity. We went to bed angry, a cold silence hanging between us. The next day, I delivered my speech. It went off without a hitch, and the applause was thunderous. But as I stood there, basking in the success, a nagging feeling of unease gnawed at me. I couldn't shake the image of Anna's hurt expression from the night before. After the conference, I returned home, eager to make things right. But Anna wasn't there. I found a note on the kitchen table, her neat handwriting spelling out what I had feared the most. She needed space, time to think about our relationship. My heart sank as I read her words, the weight of my choices crashing down on me. In the days that followed, I threw myself into my work even more, using it as a distraction from the pain. But it wasn't long before I discovered the truth. A mutual friend, Lisa, had seen Anna with someone else, a man I didn't know. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. All the sacrifices I had made, the time and effort I had put into building a life with Anna, felt like they had been for nothing. I confronted Anna, hoping for some explanation that would make sense of it all. But there were no words that could heal the wound she had inflicted. She admitted to the affair, her eyes filled with tears.
I'm sorry, John.
I didn't mean for it to happen. I just felt so alone. Her words stung, but there was no going back. The trust we had built was shattered, and I knew that our relationship was over. The realization left me hollow, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely adrift. In the aftermath, I withdrew from everything. My work, my friends, even my family. I needed to process the betrayal, to understand how everything had fallen apart. It was during this dark period that I met Emily, a bright and hopeful child from one of the schools we supported. Her resilience and optimism despite her circumstances touched me deeply. She became a beacon of hope in my darkest days, reminding me why I had started this journey in the first place. Slowly, I began to find my way back. I saw the tangible impact of my work in the community's improvement, and it reignited my passion. It wasn't easy, but I knew that I couldn't let one betrayal define me. I had a mission, a purpose that went beyond my personal pain. And with time, I learned to cultivate love and trust within myself, finding strength in the very work that had once driven a wedge between Anna and me. Life moved on, and so did I. My dedication to philanthropy became a personal mission, a way to heal and grow. And as I stood before new audiences, sharing not just my professional journey but also my personal one, I found a deeper connection with those around me. The pain of betrayal was still there, but it no longer defined me. Instead, it became a part of my story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. After Anna left, the silence in our apartment was deafening. I tried to fill it with work, burying myself in projects and initiatives, but the emptiness followed me everywhere. My friends, Mark and Lisa, were a constant support, but even their well-meaning attempts to cheer me up couldn't bridge the gap left by Anna's absence. In the weeks that followed, I started noticing the little things that had begun to unravel even before I discovered her affair. The subtle changes in her behavior, the distant look in her eyes, the way she seemed less interested in the projects we used to work on together. It was like watching a movie in reverse, seeing all the signs I had missed. My withdrawal from the charity work was noticed by everyone. I had always been the driving force, the one who kept things moving, and my absence created a void that was hard to fill. The board members were understanding, but I could see the concern in their eyes. They knew how much the work meant to me, and they feared that losing Anna had also meant losing my passion. Emily's school was one of the few places where I still felt a sense of purpose. The kids there looked up to me, and their enthusiasm was infectious. Emily, in particular, had a way of making me see the world through her hopeful eyes. One afternoon, she handed me a drawing she had made of our charity's logo, surrounded by hearts and stars. "Mr. John, I made this for you," she said, her eyes shining with pride. "You help us dream big." Her words brought tears to my eyes. I realized that while I had been consumed by my personal grief, these children still needed me. Their dreams and futures depended on the work we were doing, and I couldn't let them down. Around this time, I began encountering unexpected resistance from local authorities. Our charity had always operated with the support of the community, but suddenly, permits were being delayed, and we faced bureaucratic hurdles that threatened to derail our projects. It felt like every step forward was met with 2 steps back. One day, I received a call from Mark. "John, we need to talk," he said, his tone serious. "Can you meet me at the office?" When I arrived, Mark was waiting with a stack of documents. "I've been looking into the recent issues we've been facing," he explained. "It seems there's been some pushback from certain influential figures in the community. They're not happy with our expanding influence." I was stunned. Our work had always been about helping others, and it never occurred to me that it could be seen as a threat. "What do we do?" I asked, feeling the weight of yet another challenge pressing down on me. "We fight back," Mark said firmly. We show them that we're not going to back down. We have the support of the community, and we need to leverage that. We rallied our supporters, organizing a community event to showcase the impact of our work. The event was held at Emily's school, and we invited parents, local businesses, and anyone who had been touched by our efforts. The turnout was incredible, and the energy was palpable. As I walked through the crowd, I saw faces filled with gratitude and hope. People shared their stories of how our charity had made a difference in their lives. Emily's mother, a single parent who had struggled to make ends meet, spoke about how the school's support had allowed her to pursue her own education and provide a better future for her daughter. Hearing these stories reminded me of why I had started this journey. It wasn't just about the big donations or high-profile events. It was about the real, tangible changes we were making in people's lives. During the event, I gave a speech, sharing my own story and the recent challenges we had faced. I spoke from the heart, not holding back about the personal struggles I had endured and how they had nearly derailed me. But standing here today, I said, looking out at the sea of faces, I'm reminded that this isn't just my journey. It's our journey. Together, we can overcome any obstacle, no matter how daunting it seems. Thank you for standing with us. The applause was overwhelming, and for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. We weren't alone in this fight, and the community's support was stronger than ever. In the weeks that followed, things began to turn around. The bureaucratic hurdles started to lift, and we received a wave of new donations and volunteer sign-ups. It was as if the community had been galvanized by our event, ready to stand with us against any challenge. Through it all, Emily remained a constant source of inspiration. Her optimism and resilience were a reminder that no matter how dark things seemed, there was always a reason to keep going. She had faced her own set of challenges, yet she never lost her ability to dream big. Reflecting on everything, I realized that the cracks in the foundation of my relationship with Anna had been there for a while. I had been so focused on my work that I had missed the warning signs. But those cracks had also revealed something important: the strength of the community we had built and the impact of our work. My dedication to philanthropy had been shaken but not destroyed. It had transformed into something deeper, a personal mission to not only help others, but to also heal myself. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but with the support of my friends, the community, and the inspiration of children like Emily, I knew that I could face whatever came next. The high-profile education conference had been a success, but it was a hollow victory. My mind kept drifting back to Anna's absence and the growing distance between us. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I tried to focus on the accolades and positive feedback from the event, but a sense of dread gnawed at me. After the conference, I returned to an empty apartment. The note Anna had left still sat on the kitchen table, a constant reminder of our unresolved issues. I threw myself into work, using it as a distraction, but it wasn't enough to keep the doubts at bay. Every time I glanced at my phone, hoping for a message from her, I was met with silence. It was during one of those quiet evenings, as I sat alone with a glass of whiskey, that Lisa called. Her voice was hesitant, and I could sense she had something important to say. "John, can we meet? There's something I need to tell you," she said. We agreed to meet at a small cafe we both liked. When I arrived, Lisa was already there, her face a mask of concern. She hesitated before speaking, and my anxiety grew with each passing second. "John, I don't know how to say this," she began, looking down at her coffee cup. "But you need to know the truth. I saw Anna with someone else." Her words hit me like a sledgehammer. My mind raced, trying to process what she had just said. "What do you mean? Who was she with?" I asked, my voice trembling. Lisa explained that she had seen Anna with another man several times, in intimate settings that left no room for doubt. "I didn't want to believe it, but it's clear that something is going on," she said gently. I felt a surge of anger, betrayal, and pain. The person I had trusted with my heart had been unfaithful, and it shattered me. I thanked Lisa for telling me, though the words felt hollow. I needed to confront Anna, to hear it from her own lips. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed every moment with Anna, searching for signs I had missed. The next day, I went to her apartment. She opened the door, looking surprised to see me. The sight of her, so familiar yet now so foreign, made my heart ache. "John, what are you doing here?" she asked, her eyes wide with worry. "We need to talk," I said, pushing past her into the living room. "Lisa told me she's seen you with someone else. Is it true, Anna? Have you been cheating on me?" She didn't deny it. Her silence spoke volumes, and when she finally looked up at me, tears filled her eyes.
I'm sorry, John.
"I didn't mean for this to happen. I felt so alone, and—" Her words trailed off, but I didn't need to hear the rest. The pain of her betrayal cut deep, and I knew there was no going back. "Why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you tell me how you were feeling?" I asked, my voice breaking. "I tried, but you were always so busy. I felt like I didn't matter anymore," she admitted. The truth was, she had tried. She had told me she felt neglected, but I had been too wrapped up in my work to really listen. The realization hit me hard. I had failed her as a partner, just as much as she had failed me. We stood there in silence, the weight of our broken relationship hanging between us. Finally, I turned to leave. "Goodbye, Anna," I said quietly, and walked out the door. The following days were a blur. I threw myself into work, but even that couldn't fill the void. My friends tried to help, but nothing they said could mend my shattered heart. I spent long nights staring at the ceiling, wondering how everything had gone so wrong. During this dark time, I received an unexpected call from Emily's school. They were hosting a special event to celebrate the achievements of the students, and they wanted me to attend. I hesitated at first, but then I remembered Emily's drawing and her unwavering belief in me. The event was a simple affair, with handmade decorations and proud parents beaming as their children performed songs and recited poems. Emily spotted me from the stage and waved enthusiastically. Her joy was infectious, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a glimmer of hope. After the performances, Emily's mother approached me. "Thank you for coming, John. It means a lot to the kids, and to us parents too," she said, her eyes filled with gratitude. Seeing the impact of my work firsthand, I realized that my mission was bigger than my personal pain. These children depended on me, and I couldn't let them down. Emily, with her boundless optimism, reminded me of why I had started this journey. Despite my heartbreak, I began to find solace in the work we were doing. I re-engaged with our projects, determined to make a difference. The challenges with local authorities persisted, but with the support of the community, we fought back. We held more events, rallied more volunteers, and slowly but surely, we started to overcome the obstacles. One evening, as I was wrapping up a meeting with the board, I received a call from Mark. "John, there's something you need to see," he said urgently. He directed me to a local news website, where an article detailed the struggles our charity had faced and the community's overwhelming support. It highlighted the stories of children like Emily, who had benefited from our work. The article was a testament to the resilience and spirit of our community. Reading it, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I realized that my personal pain was just one part of a larger journey. The betrayal I had experienced had hurt deeply, but it had also led me to a place of greater understanding and commitment. With time, the wound began to heal. I learned to trust again, not in others, but in myself and the work we were doing. The community's support, the smiles of the children, and the impact of our projects became my anchor. I also started to open up more in intimate meetings with donors and volunteers, sharing not just the successes but also the struggles. It created a deeper bond and understanding, and our cause became stronger for it. Life had dealt me a harsh blow, but through it all, I had found strength in the very thing that had once driven a wedge between Anna and me: my work. It was more than just a job. It was a lifeline, a way to connect with others and make a tangible difference. And so, I continued, driven by the purpose that had brought me here, and fueled by the dreams of those who looked up to me. The future was uncertain, but I was ready to face it, one step at a time. In the immediate aftermath of the confrontation with Anna, my life felt like it was unraveling. The pain of her betrayal was a constant, gnawing presence that I couldn't escape. Every corner of our apartment reminded me of her, and I found it increasingly difficult to stay there. I moved to a small, sparsely furnished studio downtown, hoping the change of scenery would help me cope. My withdrawal from the charity work was abrupt and jarring. I informed the board that I needed a break, citing personal reasons. They were supportive, but I could sense their concern. They knew how much the work meant to me, and they feared that my absence would impact the projects we had in motion. Days turned into weeks, and I found myself drifting. My daily routine consisted of going through the motions, waking up, eating, and then staring blankly at the walls or the TV. I avoided calls and texts from friends and colleagues, unable to face their well-meaning but ultimately futile attempts to cheer me up. Even Mark, who had always been my rock, seemed at a loss for how to help me. One afternoon, as I sat in a coffee shop nursing my third cup of the day, Emily's mother, Sarah, walked in. She spotted me immediately and made her way over, her expression a mix of surprise and concern. "John, it's been a while," she said, sitting down across from me. "We've missed you at the school. The kids keep asking about you." Hearing that hit me hard. I had been so wrapped up in my own misery that I hadn't considered how my absence might affect the children, especially Emily. I mumbled something about needing time to sort things out, but Sarah wasn't having it. "John, I know you're going through a tough time, but those kids look up to you. You've made such a difference in their lives, and they need you now more than ever," she said, her voice gentle but firm. Her words lingered with me long after she left. I realized that in my grief, I had forgotten the very reason I had started this journey. The children were counting on me, and I couldn't let them down. The next day, I forced myself to go to Emily's school. It was a small step, but it felt monumental. When I arrived, the children's faces lit up with excitement, and Emily ran over, throwing her arms around me. "Mr. John, you came back," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with joy. In that moment, I felt a spark of the passion that had driven me for so long. I spent the day with the kids, helping with their projects and listening to their stories. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of purpose. Reconnecting with the children helped, but the pain of Anna's betrayal was still a heavy burden. I started seeing a therapist, hoping to make sense of my emotions and find a way to move forward. Dr. Thompson was a kind, empathetic woman who listened without judgment. Our sessions were a safe space where I could unpack the complex mix of anger, sadness, and guilt I was carrying. One day, during a particularly difficult session, Dr. Thompson suggested something that stuck with me. "John, you need to forgive yourself. It's clear that you're blaming yourself for what happened with Anna, but relationships are complicated, and it's never just one person's fault." Her words resonated with me. I had been so focused on my own failings that I hadn't considered the possibility that the breakdown of our relationship wasn't solely my fault. Forgiving myself was easier said than done, but it was a necessary step in my healing process. As I continued therapy, I slowly began to re-engage with my philanthropic work. I started small, attending board meetings and catching up on the progress of our projects. The support from the board members and my colleagues was unwavering, and their encouragement helped me regain my confidence. Mark and Lisa were instrumental during this time. They made sure I wasn't isolating myself, dragging me out for dinners and movie nights. Their unwavering support reminded me that I wasn't alone, even when it felt like my world had fallen apart. One evening, as we sat around Mark's kitchen table, he brought up an idea. "John, have you ever thought about sharing your story with the community? I mean, really opening up about what you've been through. It might help others who are going through similar struggles." The thought of baring my soul to an audience was daunting, but the more I considered it, the more it made sense. I had always been open about my journey with the charity, but my personal struggles were a part of that journey too. If sharing my story could help someone else, then it was worth it. I decided to start small, incorporating personal anecdotes into my talks with donors and volunteers. The response was overwhelming. People appreciated the honesty and vulnerability, and it created a deeper connection with our cause. It wasn't just about the numbers and success stories. It was about the real, human experiences behind them. During one of these meetings, I shared the story of Emily's drawing and how it had reignited my passion. The room was silent as I spoke, and I could see the impact my words were having. It was a powerful reminder that our work was more than just charity. It was about changing lives, including my own. With time, I began to find a new rhythm. My dedication to philanthropy had transformed into something more profound, a personal mission to not only help others, but also to heal myself. The pain of Anna's betrayal still lingered, but it no longer defined me. Instead, it had become a part of my story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As I stood before new audiences, sharing both my professional journey and personal struggles, I found a deeper connection with those around me. The support from the community, the smiles of the children, and the tangible impact of our work became my anchor. Life moved on, and so did I. I learned to cultivate love and trust within myself, finding strength in the very work that had once driven a wedge between Anna and me. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but with the support of my friends, the community, and the inspiration of children like Emily, I knew that I could face whatever came next. The period of withdrawal and reflection had given me a new perspective on my work and my life. The pain of Anna's betrayal was still there, but it no longer defined me. Instead, it had become a part of my story, fueling a renewed commitment to my philanthropic mission. It was time to rebuild, not just for myself, but for the children and communities that relied on our efforts. Returning to the charity full-time was like coming home. The board welcomed me back with open arms, and it felt good to dive into the work with a sense of purpose. We had several projects in the pipeline, including the expansion of our educational programs and new initiatives to support underprivileged communities. It was clear that the challenges we faced were significant, but so were the opportunities to make a difference. One of the first tasks I tackled was addressing the bureaucratic obstacles that had been hindering our progress. The opposition from local authorities was a significant hurdle, and it was crucial to understand their concerns and find a way to work together. I scheduled a meeting with the mayor, hoping to open a dialogue and find common ground. The meeting was tense at first. The mayor, a stern man in his late 50s, was wary of our growing influence. He expressed concerns about the sustainability of our projects and the potential for dependency on external aid. "Mr. Peterson," he began, "while I appreciate your efforts, we need to ensure that our community is self-reliant. We can't always depend on outside help." I understood his concerns but was determined to show him that our work was about empowering the community, not creating dependency. "Mayor Thompson, I agree with you. Our goal is to provide the tools and resources needed for these communities to become self-sufficient. Education is the foundation of that independence." We discussed our initiatives in detail, highlighting the success stories and the tangible impact we had already achieved. I also proposed a new program focused on vocational training and entrepreneurship, designed to equip individuals with the skills they needed to start their own businesses and generate income. By the end of the meeting, there was a noticeable shift in the mayor's demeanor. "I see the potential in what you're doing, John. Let's work together to make sure these projects are sustainable and truly beneficial to our community." It was a small victory, but it felt significant. The support of the local authorities was crucial, and this new partnership opened the door to further collaboration. As we pushed forward with our projects, the community's response was overwhelmingly positive. Volunteers poured in, eager to contribute their time and skills. Donations increased, and we were able to expand our reach even further. One of the most rewarding aspects was seeing the direct impact of our work on the children and families we served. Emily continued to be a source of inspiration. Her enthusiasm never waned, and she often visited our office to share her latest drawings and ideas. Her mother, Sarah, also became more involved, volunteering to help with our new vocational training program. During one of her visits, Emily handed me another drawing. This one depicted a large tree with deep roots and branches that reached out, touching various aspects of the community: schools, homes, businesses, and people. At the base of the tree, she had written, "Strong roots, strong community." Her simple yet profound message resonated deeply. It reminded me that our work was about more than just providing immediate relief. It was about creating lasting change and building a strong foundation for future generations. With this renewed focus, we launched the vocational training program. The response was immediate and enthusiastic. We partnered with local businesses and experts to offer workshops on various skills, from carpentry and plumbing to computer programming and small business management. The goal was to provide practical, hands-on training that would enable individuals to find employment or start their own ventures. The program's success stories began to pour in. One particularly memorable case was that of a young man named Alex. He had been struggling to find steady work and was unsure of his future. Through our program, he learned carpentry and soon started his own small furniture-making business. His transformation was incredible to witness, and his gratitude was palpable. "John, this program changed my life," he told me one day, his voice filled with emotion. "I now have a skill that not only supports me but also contributes to the community. I can't thank you enough." These stories were a constant reminder of why we did what we did. They fueled my determination to keep pushing forward, despite the inevitable challenges. However, not everyone was pleased with our success. Some influential figures in the community continued to resist our efforts, fearing that our growing influence threatened their own interests. They spread rumors and tried to undermine our credibility, but the community's support remained steadfast. We decided to address these issues head-on by hosting a public forum. It was an opportunity for us to share our vision, answer questions, and dispel any misconceptions. The event was held at the community center, and the turnout was impressive. I stood before the crowd, feeling a mix of nerves and determination. "Thank you all for coming. I know there have been concerns and questions about our work, and I'm here to address them openly and honestly." I shared our journey, from the inception of the charity to the present day. I highlighted our successes and acknowledged the challenges we had faced. Most importantly, I emphasized our commitment to the community and our belief in its potential. The response was overwhelmingly positive. People shared their own stories of how the charity had impacted their lives, and their words carried more weight than any speech I could give. The forum ended on a high note, with a renewed sense of unity and purpose. As I reflected on the day's events, I realized that my journey had come full circle. The pain of Anna's betrayal had been a catalyst for profound personal growth. It had forced me to reevaluate my priorities and reconnect with my true passion. The challenges we faced had strengthened our resolve and brought us closer as a community. Moving forward, I knew there would be more obstacles, but I also knew that we were ready to face them together. The resilience and spirit of the people around me were a constant source of inspiration, and their unwavering support gave me the strength to continue. Life had tested me in ways I hadn't anticipated, but it had also revealed the depth of my commitment to my mission. As I stood before the community, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Together, we would build a brighter future, one rooted in love, trust, and resilience. With the momentum from our recent successes, the charity was thriving, and our community was more engaged than ever. But I realized that if we wanted to create lasting change, we needed to evolve. It was time to think bigger, to find new directions that would not only sustain but also expand our impact. One of the ideas that had been percolating in my mind was to create a mentorship program for young adults. The vocational training program had been a success, but I knew that guidance from experienced professionals could further empower these individuals to achieve their full potential. Mentorship had played a crucial role in my own journey, and I wanted to offer the same support to others. We launched the mentorship program with a pilot group, pairing young adults with mentors from various industries. The response was overwhelmingly positive. The mentors, many of whom were local business owners and professionals, were eager to give back to the community. The Mints, on the other hand, were excited to learn and grow under the guidance of their mentors. One mentee who stood out was Lisa, a bright and ambitious young woman who dreamed of becoming a lawyer. She had grown up in a challenging environment, and despite her academic prowess, she lacked the resources and connections to pursue her dreams. Through our program, she was paired with Mr. Harris, a seasoned attorney who had a passion for mentoring young talent. Their partnership blossomed quickly. Mr. Harris not only provided Lisa with valuable insights into the legal profession, but also helped her secure an internship at his law firm. Lisa's progress was remarkable, and her story soon became an inspiration for others in the program. At one of our monthly mentorship meetings, Lisa spoke about her journey. "This program has given me hope and direction. I never thought I'd have the opportunity to work in a law firm, but here I am, thanks to Mr. Harris and the support from everyone here. I'm determined to make the most of this chance and give back to the community that believed in me." Her words resonated deeply with everyone in the room, and I felt a swell of pride. This was exactly the kind of impact we aimed to create. As the mentorship program gained traction, I started to think about other ways we could innovate. One idea was to integrate technology into our educational initiatives. Access to technology was a significant barrier for many of the children we worked with, and bridging this gap could open up new opportunities for learning and growth. We partnered with a tech company that provided refurbished computers and tablets at a reduced cost. We also set up workshops to teach basic computer skills, coding, and digital literacy. The children were thrilled, and it was heartwarming to see their excitement as they explored new possibilities. Emily was particularly enthusiastic about the technology program. She took to coding like a fish to water, quickly mastering the basics and moving on to more complex projects. Her curiosity and determination were infectious, and she soon became a role model for other kids in the program. One afternoon, she approached me with an idea. "Mr. John, what if we created a website where kids can share their projects and help each other learn? It could be like a digital community." Her suggestion was brilliant. We worked together to bring her vision to life, creating a platform where students could upload their projects, ask questions, and collaborate. It became a hub of activity, fostering a sense of community and encouraging peer-to-peer learning. The website's success caught the attention of several local businesses, and we secured additional funding to expand the program. We were able to provide more devices, offer advanced courses, and even host a yearly tech fair where students could showcase their projects. As our initiatives grew, so did the sense of community. People from all walks of life came together, united by a shared goal of making a difference. It was a powerful reminder that even in the face of adversity, collective action could bring about profound change. One of the most memorable moments during this period was a visit from a prominent philanthropist, Mrs. Thompson. She had heard about our work and wanted to see it firsthand. We organized a tour of our facilities, culminating in a visit to Emily's school. Mrs. Thompson was impressed by the enthusiasm and dedication of the students and volunteers. She spent time talking to the kids, listening to their stories, and even participating in a coding workshop. At the end of the visit, she announced a substantial donation to support our programs. "I'm truly inspired by what I've seen here today," she said during a small gathering we held in her honor. "The work you're doing is transformative, and I'm proud to support it. Keep pushing forward, because the impact you're making is immeasurable." Her words and generosity were a tremendous boost for us. They validated our efforts and provided the resources we needed to scale our initiatives even further. Despite these successes, there were still challenges to overcome. The opposition from certain community members persisted, and we had to navigate the complexities of balancing growth with sustainability. But the support from the community and the tangible results of our efforts kept us motivated. Through it all, I continued to share my personal journey with donors, volunteers, and anyone willing to listen. The honesty and vulnerability of my story resonated with many, creating deeper connections and strengthening our cause. One evening, after a particularly productive day, I found myself reflecting on how far we had come. The pain of Anna's betrayal had been a catalyst for change, pushing me to reevaluate my life and my work. It had been a difficult journey, but it had also led to incredible growth and new opportunities. I realized that my dedication to philanthropy was not just about helping others. It was also about healing myself. Each success, each story of transformation, was a step towards reclaiming my sense of purpose and fulfillment. As I stood on the balcony of my apartment, looking out over the city, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Life had tested me in ways I hadn't anticipated, but it had also revealed the strength and resilience I didn't know I possessed. The journey was far from over, but I was ready for whatever came next. With the support of my friends, the inspiration of the community, and the drive to make a difference, I knew that we could overcome any challenge. And so, I continued, committed to the cause and to the countless dreams we were helping to realize. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace it with open arms. With our new initiatives thriving and the community more engaged than ever, life began to settle into a rhythm. Each day brought new challenges and triumphs, and I found myself deeply immersed in the work. Yet, amid the hustle and bustle, I felt the need to take a step back and reflect on the journey that had brought me here. One weekend, I decided to visit Hocking Hills, the state park where Anna and I used to go. It had been a place of solace and connection, and I hoped that revisiting it might offer some clarity. I packed a small bag, drove out early in the morning, and by mid-morning, I was hiking the familiar trails, surrounded by the tranquility of nature. The park was as beautiful as I remembered. The lush greenery, the cascading waterfalls, and the serene silence provided the perfect backdrop for reflection. As I walked, memories of my time with Anna flooded back. Our laughter, our plans, and the eventual heartbreak. It was bittersweet, but I felt a sense of peace as I acknowledged those moments for what they were, a part of my past that had shaped who I had become. Finding a quiet spot near a waterfall, I sat down and let my thoughts wander. I thought about the journey of the past year, the highs and lows, the successes and failures. I realized how much I had grown, not just as a leader but as a person. The pain of betrayal had forced me to look inward, to confront my own shortcomings, and to learn to forgive myself. Forgiveness had been a crucial part of my healing process. Dr. Thompson's words about forgiving myself had been a turning point. I had been carrying the burden of guilt, blaming myself for the breakdown of my relationship with Anna. But I had come to understand that while I had made mistakes, the end of our relationship wasn't solely my fault. It had been a complex interplay of emotions, circumstances, and choices. As I sat by the waterfall, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons learned, for the people who had supported me, and for the work that had given me a sense of purpose. The community we had built was a testament to the power of collective action and the impact of caring individuals. I felt proud of what we had achieved and hopeful for the future. The following Monday, I returned to the office with a renewed sense of energy. I called a meeting with the board to discuss our next steps. We had made significant progress, but there was always more to be done. I wanted to ensure that our efforts were sustainable and that we continued to innovate and grow. During the meeting, I proposed expanding our mentorship program to include not just young adults, but also high school students. Early intervention could provide these students with the guidance and support they needed to navigate their educational and career paths. The board was enthusiastic about the idea, and we began planning the logistics. We also decided to strengthen our partnerships with local businesses and organizations. By collaborating with others who shared our vision, we could amplify our impact and reach even more people. The success of our tech initiative had shown us the potential of such partnerships, and we were eager to explore new possibilities. One of the most rewarding aspects of our work was seeing the direct impact on individuals. Lisa, the young woman who had dreamed of becoming a lawyer, was now thriving in her internship and preparing for law school. Alex's furniture business was flourishing, and he had even started mentoring others in our vocational program. Emily continued to excel in her coding projects, inspiring other students with her creativity and determination. Their stories were a constant reminder of why we did what we did. They were proof that our efforts were making a real difference, and they motivated us to keep pushing forward. As our programs grew, so did our team. We hired additional staff to manage the expanding initiatives, and I was fortunate to find people who were as passionate and dedicated as I was. One of our new hires, Maria, had a background in community organizing and brought fresh ideas and perspectives to the table. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and she quickly became an integral part of our team. Maria and I often brainstormed new projects and initiatives. One evening, as we worked late in the office, she shared an idea that struck a chord with me. "John, what if we created a community hub? A place where people could come together to learn, collaborate, and support each other. It could be a physical space that embodies our mission." The idea was brilliant. A community hub could serve as a central location for our programs, workshops, and events. It would provide a space for people to connect, share resources, and build a sense of community. We immediately began working on a proposal, outlining the potential benefits and the steps needed to make it a reality. With the proposal ready, we approached our key donors and partners. Their response was overwhelmingly positive, and we secured the funding needed to move forward. Finding the right location was the next step, and after several weeks of searching, we found a building that was perfect. It was centrally located, spacious, and had the potential to become a vibrant community center. Renovations began, and the excitement was palpable. We involved the community in the process, holding design workshops and gathering input on what they wanted to see in the hub. It was a collaborative effort, and the result was a space that truly reflected the needs and aspirations of the people it would serve. The grand opening of the community hub was a milestone moment. We hosted a celebration, inviting everyone who had been a part of our journey. As I stood in the middle of the bustling, joyful crowd, I felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. This was more than just a building. It was a symbol of our collective effort and our commitment to creating positive change. In the weeks that followed, the hub became a hive of activity. It hosted workshops, mentoring sessions, community meetings, and social events. It was a place where people could come together to learn, grow, and support each other. The sense of community that we had built was stronger than ever, and it was incredibly fulfilling to see the impact firsthand. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that my dedication to philanthropy had not only helped others, but had also been a path to healing and growth for myself. The challenges and setbacks had been tough, but they had also made me stronger and more resilient. As I looked toward the future, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. There would always be challenges to face, but with the support of my friends, the community, and the incredible team we had built, I was confident that we could overcome them. The work we were doing was important, and it was changing lives, including my own. And so, I moved forward, dedicated to the mission and the countless dreams we were helping to realize. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace it with optimism and determination. The opening of the community hub was a turning point, both for our charity and for me personally. It symbolized a new beginning and a commitment to the future. The hub quickly became the beating heart of our community efforts, and I found myself spending more and more time there, immersed in the vibrant energy and diverse activities. One of the most exciting developments was the expansion of our educational programs. With the hub as our base, we were able to offer a wider range of classes and workshops. We hired skilled instructors and partnered with local schools to provide supplementary education in subjects like science, technology, engineering, and math STEM. The response from the students was overwhelmingly positive, and it was inspiring to see their curiosity and enthusiasm. Emily continued to be a star pupil, excelling in every class she took. Her coding skills had reached new heights, and she even started teaching a beginner's class for younger students. Watching her lead a group of eager kids, I couldn't help but feel proud of how far she had come. Her journey from a shy, hopeful child to a confident young leader was a testament to the power of education and support. The mentorship program also flourished in the new environment. The hub provided a perfect space for mentors and mints to meet regularly, fostering deeper connections and more meaningful guidance. We expanded the program to include not only professional development, but also personal growth and life skills. The mentors played a crucial role in helping their mints navigate the challenges of adolescence and early adulthood. One of our most successful mints, Lisa, had been accepted into law school and was thriving in her studies. She often returned to the hub to share her experiences and offer advice to current mints. Her journey had come full circle, and she was now giving back to the very community that had supported her dreams. As our programs grew, so did our need for resources. We launched a fundraising campaign to support the ongoing operations of the hub and our initiatives. The community rallied behind us, and we received generous donations from local businesses, residents, and even some of the students' families. It was a powerful reminder of the impact we were making and the importance of our work. With the hub running smoothly, I found myself with more time to think about the future. I realized that while we had accomplished a lot, there was still much more we could do. I wanted to explore new opportunities and partnerships that could help us expand our reach and make an even greater impact. One of the ideas I was particularly excited about was creating a scholarship fund for high-achieving students from underprivileged backgrounds. Education had changed my life, and I wanted to give others the same opportunity. I brought the idea to the board, and they were enthusiastic. We began working on the details, reaching out to potential donors, and setting up the criteria for the scholarships. The first recipient of our scholarship was a brilliant young woman named Jessica. She had overcome significant obstacles to achieve top grades in her high school and had dreams of becoming an engineer. The scholarship covered her tuition and living expenses, allowing her to attend a prestigious university and focus on her studies without the burden of financial stress. Jessica's story was incredibly inspiring. She spoke at our annual fundraiser, sharing her journey and the impact the scholarship had made on her life. "This scholarship has given me the chance to pursue my dreams," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "I'm so grateful for the support, and I promised to make the most of this opportunity. Her speech moved many in the audience to tears, and it was clear that our work was resonating deeply with the community. The fundraiser was a huge success, and we raised enough money to support several more scholarships. Despite these successes, there were still challenges to overcome. The opposition from certain community members persisted, and we had to navigate the complexities of balancing growth with sustainability. But the support from the community and the tangible results of our efforts kept us motivated. One of the unexpected joys of this period was reconnecting with old friends and mentors who had played a significant role in my journey. They had been following our progress and reached out to offer their support and guidance. It was heartwarming to see how our work had touched so many lives, and their encouragement meant the world to me. During this time, I also started to explore new interests and hobbies. For years, my life had been consumed by work, but I realized the importance of finding balance and making time for myself. I took up painting, a hobby I had enjoyed in my youth but had long neglected. It became a form of therapy, a way to express my emotions and find peace. One evening, as I was painting in my apartment, I received a call from Anna. It had been months since we last spoke, and hearing her voice brought a flood of emotions. She wanted to meet, to talk about everything that had happened. We met at a quiet cafe, the same one where Lisa had first told me about Anna's affair. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of nostalgia and tension. Anna looked different, more introspective, perhaps a bit sadder. We exchanged pleasantries, but it was clear we both had a lot on our minds. "John, I'm sorry for everything," she began, her voice trembling. "I've had a lot of time to think, and I realize how much I hurt you. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted to apologize." Her words were sincere, and I could see the remorse in her eyes. It was a difficult conversation, but it was also cathartic. We talked about our relationship, what went wrong, and how we had both changed. It wasn't about rekindling anything. It was about finding closure and healing old wounds. "I've learned a lot about myself," I said, "and while it was incredibly painful, it also led me to where I am today. I'm grateful for the journey, even the hard parts." Anna nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I'm glad you found your way, John. You're doing amazing things, and I wish you all the best." As we parted ways, I felt a sense of relief. The chapter with Anna was finally closed, and I could move forward without the weight of the past. My focus was on the future, on the work we were doing and the lives we were changing. Reflecting on everything, I realized that my journey had been one of transformation. The challenges and setbacks had shaped me into a stronger, more resilient person. The work we were doing was not just about charity. It was about creating opportunities, building communities, and fostering hope. The support from the community, the inspiration from the children, and the dedication of our team had all played a part in this transformation. It was a collective effort, and it had brought about profound change. As I looked toward the future, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. There would always be challenges to face, but with the support of my friends, the community, and the incredible team we had built, I was confident that we could overcome them. The work we were doing was important, and it was changing lives, including my own. And so, I continued, committed to the mission and to the countless dreams we were helping to realize. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace it with optimism and determination. The closure with Anna had brought a new sense of peace, allowing me to fully focus on the future. Our community hub was thriving, our programs were expanding, and the scholarship fund was making a significant difference in the lives of young students. It seemed like everything was finally falling into place. But life, as it often does, had an unexpected twist in store. One sunny afternoon, I was at the community hub, discussing the upcoming tech fair with Maria. The hub was buzzing with activity. Students working on projects, mentors and mints deep in conversation, and volunteers organizing supplies. It was a scene that filled me with pride. As Maria and I finalized the plans, I received a call from Mark. "John, you need to come to the office. There's something you need to see," he said, his tone unusually serious. I excused myself and hurried over to our main office. When I arrived, Mark and a few other board members were gathered around a computer, their faces etched with concern. "What's going on?" I asked, feeling a knot of anxiety forming in my stomach. Mark pointed to the screen. There's an article circulating online. Someone's accusing our charity of financial mismanagement. I leaned in to read the article. It was full of allegations that we had misused funds, paid exorbitant salaries to staff, and failed to deliver on promised projects. The accusations were baseless, but they were presented in a way that could easily sway public opinion. My mind raced. Who would do this and why? Our finances were transparent, and we had always prided ourselves on our integrity. We need to address this immediately, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We called an emergency board meeting to strategize. The first step was to issue a public statement refuting the claims and providing evidence of our financial transparency. We also decided to hold a press conference to answer any questions and reassure our supporters. The next few days were a whirlwind. The article had gained traction, and the media was buzzing with questions and speculation. It was a critical moment for us, and we needed to handle it with care. Maria and I worked late into the night, gathering documents, preparing statements, and coordinating with our legal team. At the press conference, I stood before a room full of reporters, cameras flashing. Taking a deep breath, I began, "Thank you all for coming. I want to address the recent allegations against our charity. We take these claims very seriously, and I'm here to set the record straight." I detailed our financial practices, emphasizing our commitment to transparency and accountability. We shared our audited reports, highlighting the impact of our programs and the careful stewardship of our funds. I also addressed the emotional toll the allegations had taken on our team and the communities we served. The work we do is not just about numbers. It's about people, I said, my voice steady but passionate. We have always operated with the highest standards of integrity, and we will continue to do so. Our mission is too important to be derailed by unfounded accusations. The response was cautiously positive. Reporters asked tough questions, but we were prepared. We provided clear, concise answers and reinforced our commitment to our mission. By the end of the press conference, it seemed we had managed to turn the tide, but the damage had been done. Trust, once shaken, takes time to rebuild. In the aftermath, I felt a mix of relief and exhaustion. The support from our community was overwhelming. Parents, students, volunteers, and donors reached out to express their faith in us. It was heartening to see, but the whole ordeal left me wondering who would want to undermine our work. A few weeks later, as we were beginning to regain our footing, Mark came to me with a lead. "John, I think I know who's behind the smear campaign," he said, handing me a folder. Inside were documents linking the negative article to a rival organization. They were a for-profit entity involved in similar work, but with a very different approach. Their goal was profit, not community welfare, and it seemed they viewed us as a threat. I was furious. It was one thing to compete for resources, but to undermine our integrity and jeopardize our mission was unforgivable. We discussed our options and decided to take legal action. Our legal team filed a defamation suit, and we worked to expose the truth. As the legal battle unfolded, we remained focused on our work. The community hub continued to thrive, and our programs didn't miss a beat. The children, oblivious to the drama, continued to dream, learn, and grow. Their resilience was a reminder of why we fought so hard. One evening, as I was reviewing documents in my office, Emily walked in. She was carrying a small box and had a serious look on her face. "Mr. John, I made something for you," she said, handing me the box. Inside was a handmade plaque. It read, "For Mr. John, thank you for believing in us." Below the inscription was a drawing of the community hub, surrounded by smiling children. Tears welled up in my eyes. "Thank you, Emily. This means the world to me," I said, hugging her. She looked up at me, her eyes wise beyond her years. "Don't let those bad people get you down. We know the truth, and that's what matters." Her words were simple but profound. They reminded me of the core reason behind our work, the children and their future. The support from Emily and others like her was a beacon of hope. The legal battle was long and arduous, but we eventually won. The rival organization was exposed, and their credibility shattered. Our name was cleared, and the public trust restored. The whole experience was a stark reminder of the challenges we faced, but it also reinforced our resolve. Through it all, the support from the community never wavered. They stood by us, and their faith was the bedrock on which we rebuilt. The ordeal had brought us closer, forging bonds that were stronger than ever. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that challenges were inevitable, but it was how we faced them that defined us. The unexpected twist had tested us in ways we hadn't anticipated, but it also revealed the strength and resilience of our community. As I looked toward the future, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. There would always be obstacles, but with the support of my friends, the community, and the incredible team we had built, I was confident that we could overcome them. And so, I continued, committed to the mission and the countless dreams we were helping to realize. The future was bright, and we were ready to embrace it with optimism and determination.